Hey guys, Henry here, again back actually with another video today, and I actually want to talk about, the build that I've been using to kind of clear through the campaign, and I also want to give a bit of my thoughts on the current state of PoE 2. So, currently, we're kind of in a state where, most of the skills after the new update got completely gutted. A lot of these skills are just not that strong, regardless of what class you pick, and it just feels like a lot of the enemies are kind of like a bit of a damage sponge. However, I think I've developed a build for the Huntress that is actually doing really well for me and is not super dependent on gear. You only need a couple of items, decent like yellows, and I kind of want to walk you guys through it because I know that a lot of you have been struggling with, I hear a lot of complaints online, Act 2, Jumon Ra is hard to kill, Act 3, Doriani, I can't kill him, what do I do, what's going on, this game is whack. I do have trust in the devs, though. I do believe that they will listen to the majority of everyone's feedback and try to make some adjustments. But right now, let me kind of just walk you through the build that I have and that I kind of made up on my own. And again, I did not follow any builds. I did not follow a build at all. This is all from just off the cuff, raw, no prior research was done. The only thing that I think I saw was like one video kind of like describing what the hunters can do, but I didn't go into like POB or anything like that. So let me walk you through it. So the first thing that I did was, we'll start with the beginning here. So we have parry, wind wave for defensive, and unbreakable just to prevent myself from getting light or heavy stunned. Next we have rake. I use this just to close the gap. It's not really big on damage. So rake with brutality and stomping ground. This is nice because the farther you go, the more stomping grounds you make. Next we have disengage with perfusion and bloodlust. This is what's going to be used after you lead with a rake. So you make them bleed with rake and then you do disengage if you want to disengage. But to be clear, I don't use disengage that often in this build. It's I actually stay in melee and use Fangs of Frost, but we'll get into that in just a second. Next we have Fangs of Frost, which converts 80% of the physical damage that you do to cold. Builds more freeze, so I decided to add Ice Bite and Glaciation because I'm freezing them so often, I'm going to be getting the added cold damage as a bonus for 5 seconds. So it's really a lot of synergy going on right there. Next we have Whirling Slash with Martial Tempo, of course, because we want to build as much whirlwind as quickly as possible to get to the highest stage possible, which is 3. And then next we have Pursuit. And the reason why I'm going with Pursuit is because when we use Whirlwind, or Whirling Slash I should say, the buff for Pursuit kicks in, which makes it so that support skills deal 25% more melee damage if you have damaged an enemy with a projectile attack hit in the last 8 seconds. So we're building the Whirlwind, and then we're using Twister, which is a projectile, which will give us the buff for Pursuit, and then we kind of just cycle Rolling Slash into Twister back and forth, which leads me to Twister. Twister we have here, acceleration, of course. It makes the projectiles travel faster and more likely to bounce off of something. We have persistence, so that the tornadoes last, or the twisters last longer. And lastly, we have the opposite of Pursuit, which is retreat, which is the opposite of what Pursuit does. So if you use a melee hit in the last 8 seconds, your projectiles do more damage. So it's kind of like self-sustaining, and you kind of just loop Whirling Slash into tornadoes or Twister over and over again, and you'll get that constant damage increase. And then lastly, we have Barrage. We have Premeditation. So skills that are empowered do 50% more damage. And we have Perpetual Charge, which has a 35% chance to not consume a Frenzy Charge when you use Twister. And the very bottom for buffs, we're using Wind Dancer. I'm going to eventually add like Maim and Blind to this. I just haven't gotten any extra gems yet. And we have Combat Frenzy. Of course, this allows me to build a lot of charges for every guy that I freeze, electrocute, or pin. Let me kind of go over the passive skill tree really fast, just to give you an idea of what I was doing. We started with... Actually, let's go to the Ascendancy first. So we started here. We went for skill speed into Predatory Instinct. So reveal weaknesses and rare unique enemies. 50% more damage against enemies with an open weakness. So this is very good for bossing and clearing out rare mobs with the Wisps, or just if you want to just clear out a rare mob that comes by your way. Boom, 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 50% more damage, multiplicative, so no matter how much health they have or how much damage you have, it's always going to be really high. It's really nice. So we started off with attack damage. Just get raw damage for now. Lead up until Primal Instinct. Get more attack speed, more area of effect, which affects your Whirling Slash and your Twisters. More dex. Try to grab the parry, because the parry is really strong. The parry can actually stun or even kill enemies just off of one parry. It's enough to do. It's enough to cause a bit of disruption amongst the enemies, so that it's easier for you to stay alive. So parry gets really good later, I think. Then we go for again more damage, melee damage. So this is the exact same thing as Pursuit and Retreat combined into one notable on the passive tree. So this is really good. Grab this. I plan on getting accuracy and all that stuff later when I'm accuracy stacking for my Amazon when we grab the Critical Strike. This is really good. So we're going to keep going down here. Grab more damage. Grabbed a few strength nodes in order to get the support gems for Rake and some of the other skills that have a red gem in them. I grabbed this one here, counter stancing. So for the next range or melee, if I do the opposite, again, just like Pursuit and Retreat, more damage, increased damage, nice damage. Keep going down, so go all the way down. I grabbed a little node here. This little jewel here sucks, but just go past the jewel node. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Skip this for now, I get this after. And then I went right for the spear nodes. This is all really good. I'm planning on building a lot of crit, a lot of accuracy and crit. So this is really nice to get. Then I immediately grabbed skill speed and movement speed. So with skill speed, we're going to be doing more tornadoes, more whirlwinds, more twisters. Very good to have. I then grabbed some attack damage with maim, which prevents the enemy from moving, and they do less damage, I believe. Oh, sorry, no. They move slower, and they have reduced evasion. So you're more likely to hit them with your twisters. And then I start to make my way down here, and I'm going to grab some of the projectile speed and stuff like... oh, yeah, one thing that's really important. Whirling Slash, as we know, has a thing where it can blind enemies. So perform a circular slash that kicks up a whirlwind around you, slowing and blinding them. One thing that the game doesn't tell you, when it comes to Twister, if you do whirling slashes and you infuse them with a twister, the twisters will also blind the enemy. Right? So this is actually really important because there's a bunch of passive skill tree nodes that if you type in blind, there's a bunch of ones that give you increased damage and blind duration against enemies that are blinded. So I would grab this at some point later in the game. I'll probably grab it next after I grab the projectile speed and all that stuff. You also want stuff with skill duration so that the twisters last longer, which is really nice. So, yeah, that's basically what I have for now. Right now I'm in Act 3 normal, so I'm not very far into the game, but just to be clear, this is for people that are struggling with the early campaign, because that's primarily what I'm seeing as a complaint on Reddit, on everywhere, on Steam forums. Everyone's just like saying, you know, I can't kill Act 2, Act 3, whatever. So this is for you guys. Later, I'll probably upload another video with an updated build for, like, Cruel or even into mapping, you know, and, yeah, that's basically it. So again, guys, try to be patient. I know it's rough right now. I know some people have been quitting because they're not having fun, and you know I get it. You know, I was lucky. I'll be honest with you. I was lucky. I happened to pick the one skill that is really good for a Huntress right now because like Lightning Javelin's not very good. Rake kind of sucks. You know, a lot of the skills so far are just not particularly strong. They probably would be if you had really good gear, but that's way till end game. And early game, when you're doing your first seasonal character, you don't really have a lot of gear or currency to be able to really buff your gear. So. Try my build, see how you like it. I'm really enjoying it. The only thing that's a bit of a downside to this build is that there's a lot of prep work that needs to be done. So you need to. I'll show you in a combat scenario. I'm actually gonna go and fight some mobs right now. So again, we're gonna walk around. Now we have a bunch of frenzy charges, and we're gonna do one more here. And with all those frenzy charges, plus barrage, look at all the tornadoes you see, like 30 tornadoes on the screen infused with ice. So it's actually really good. But because you're building evasion, you don't have too much survivability, so you just gotta be careful. But that's why we have, you know, stuff like disengage, which gives you that chance to run away. Like that. And you also build a Frenzy Charge. So it's just a really solid build. And it just makes for good mob clearing. Let me know what you guys think. I think it's a solid build. But feel free to leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys feel. But be honest. Do you like the League so far? Do you not like it? Do you hate it? How do you feel about the Hunters? Do you like the parry mechanic? Do you not? I know some people have mixed feelings on it. And like, comment, subscribe, join the stream, join the Discord. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.